So one day I asked myself, what would happen if I challenged myself to build a PC where I would take literally any shortcut I can think of, or any shortcut possible or at my disposal, to lower the price of the whole PC as much as possible while still retaining its sort of gaming purpose, and so it can still actually game very well at a lot of different games. Well, I did just that. I challenged myself to do exactly that, and today I'm going to be showing you guys and presenting to you guys and documenting how I did it and what the results were. So without further ado and without wasting any more time, let's get straight into how I did this project and what were the results. So at first I started to plan out this project. I needed a solid plan as to what I was gonna cut on and what kind of parts I was gonna choose. Now my plan was to first choose the parts and then see what it's possible to cut on without, damaging the overall performance of the PC, way too much. So I picked out all my parts, which should be displayed on the screen right now. So those are all of the parts that I've chosen in great detail. And after I chose all of my parts, which took around a day or two to figure out, then I decided to go and basically see on which parts I can cut on. And almost instantly what I found that I can cut on is the discs, the case, and the wiring, because the wiring I can just get for free from my school. Same with the case, and weirdly enough the power supply as well. I got my power supply for free from my school, so that's not put into the overall cost of the PC as well. And then the discs, I had one disc which I already bought, so that will be of course counted onto the price. But another disc I got for completely free from one of my friends, and so that won't be counted onto the overall price of this here PC. And so with that being said, and with everything having planned out, so the parts and what I cut on, it was time to actually get the parts, which was one of the easiest things because I got the graphics card, the motherboard, and the CPU. I got it very quickly, and then the rest of the parts I managed to get in the following week or two. And after around 2 to 3 weeks of planning, gathering, and so on, I then got to, gathering all these parts together and building this PC. Now, building this PC was a bit tricky because of the fact that I did a lot of stupid smaller mistakes, which then caused me to pull the graphics card out and in again and whatnot, for example. And yeah, it was quite a tedious process, building this PC, and then especially doing the cable management and whatnot, especially in a case like this. But overall, after like a few hours of messing around and building and then taking apart and then rebuilding the PC again, I finally managed to get and build the PC in the form that I truly wanted it to be. And after I had fully finished with planning, gathering the parts, and building this PC, it was now time to gather my peripherals and my monitor and all the other things, which won't be counted onto the price, because for this challenge I'll only count the price of the PC since that's what we're focusing on the most. The peripherals are quite optional, and you can get way cheaper peripherals, and that's why I don't want to count them into the total price, and also because they're not really directly a part of the PC. So yeah, but anyhow, I got my peripherals, my display, and everything else that I needed. And after that, I turned on the PC, and right off the bat, I got into an issue. You see, I don't really know what the issue is, but what I'm thinking is the issue is the motherboard. Now, what was happening was basically the PC would not want to display anything. The PC literally didn't want to display anything. And at first I was so unbelievably scared because I thought that, this PC wouldn't, that this project had failed and that all these parts were for nothing. But in the end, it turned out that all I needed to do was just switch off the power supply, wait 10 seconds or around 10 seconds, and then turn the power supply back on, and then turn the PC, and everything worked just fine. And at first I thought this was just a one-time issue, but soon I found out that this issue was, permanent, very to say. And I tried a lot of different things. I tried reseating the graphics card, all the different connectors and whatnot. Nothing seemed to work. Absolutely nothing seemed to work. And I was in shock, but it wasn't some kind of huge issue or whatever, like it wasn't a ginormous issue, but it was still quite annoying, that every single time you had to turn on the PC, you had to first switch off the power supply and then switch it back on. So yeah, that was quite tedious and quite annoying, but that was basically the only issue and only real gripe I had with this entire PC and the entire setup as a whole in general. So anyhow, now with all of this out of the way, how much did I pay for this entire build? Well, ladies and gentlemen, for this entire build together, entirely, so the entire price of this entire build altogether was 280, around 280 euros, which is absolutely insane. Like, I mean, you'll see what kind of performance this PC gets later on when I show the benchmarks. But for the kind of performance that this PC gets, 280 euros is absolutely insane. And like, not just for the results, but also for the specs as well. Like, for the specs and for the results at the same time, 280 euros is absolutely insane. And I mean, I find that like an absolute steal. Like, literally, I find that an absolute steal of a PC, or basically price to FPS ratio. But anyhow, now with all of this done, all of this being fully set up, and with all of this out of the way, now it's time to get onto the benchmarks, which will be the final part of this video, and this will be the final time you'll actually hear me speak in this video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the benchmarks, and I really hope these benchmarks are what you guys expected, because I was absolutely flabbergasted by the results that we got.
It's been 3 months now.
To one left long tightens. Into two right. Opens of a crest.